Oh, wow. Amazing. Like, it's just amaze beans that I'm allowed to go live. Mm, we're going to get this over very quickly because I've probably said it many, many, many times before, and certainly a second has never been so long in creation as it is currently. What is the problem with okay, so I don't know. I don't know if anyone can hear me or not. I'll just go ahead and say I am a researcher. In early December last year, I heard that this provocation was going to scale up into all-out global conflict. It would start up at the end of January, early February of 2022. As a result of that information, I immediately then set about doing everything I could humanly do as a person with really no means and in very bad circumstances, because I had just been the target of a physical attack, which left me with fractured maxilla, orbital socket, and very serious concussion, which I really couldn't afford to treat. Why did that happen? Well, there are a number of possible features. What special forces people I have spoken to have said that it looked very much like a professional job. So they knew it would do maximum damage in one strike, and that I would most definitely have zero memory, because it is impossible to suffer a brain injury that's severe and remember it. It is literally your brain freezes and it shuts it out. So if you do remember what happened, then you were not, you did not have a very, you might have had very severe injuries, but you did not have that level of concussion. So my circumstances were I was recovering from a very bad concussion. I was minimal medical treatment. I got word from an old source. And why was I getting this information? Because years ago, when Bill Clinton attacked Yugoslavia and intervened to help the poor people in Kosovo, and I've spoken to even civilian volunteers who were in Kosovo, and I said, is it possible that it could have been set up? And even though they were very ferocious, they said, yes, it was in fact possible, it was conceivable that it may have been set up in a certain way. So I saw this. My grandparents leaned very heavily Tito. My grandmother was absolutely shocked and outraged at CNN, Christian Amanpour, and the UN daily briefings. Jamie something was in Brussels, and I looked at all of this and I said, well, this is a war crime. So I'm going to sign up for a PhD on the premise that Bill Clinton committed crimes against humanity and war crimes against the people of Yugoslavia. And I pretty much put a bank on there is no butcher of the Balkans. Milosevic is not the butcher of the Balkans. This is concocted fabrication. And in fact, a series of documents were released somewhere where Trump was in power, please remember, I have a concussion, and so I do have permanent, you could call it brain damage, and you could call it retarded. That would be acceptable words. There is no need to use euphemisms around reality. So I cannot easily recall things, but I know for sure that Milosevic was exonerated. Um, but his exoneration was tucked into a pile of documents and just dumped in a big release, similar to Lee Harvey Oswald, the CIA document showing they had to maintain Lee Harvey Oswald as the lone shooter, as the only possibility, and not let people start to speculate about where that could have gone, was JFK. So in this way, the public is left in the dark for so long that when the information does come, they don't care. So when you say, well, Hitler didn't die in the bunker, the CIA had him under investigation for at least a decade. The FBI files are there. He did not die in Berlin, and they go, so what? That's like old history. And I say, no, it is not old history. It is reality that we are living in. So every time you say you don't care that Berlin was not where Hitler died, and I have dear friends who are no longer in this world, like Alfred Nestor, who his father was inner security for the Führer. And so he was in Berlin on the day that the Russian forces came in, and his memory was suitably, he was a remarkable, kind, dignified, and a man of honor and spine. He had immense integrity. So he was, as a German child, he saw the Russians take Berlin, and it was not a very pretty affair at all, but he was very even-handed in his memories. So he remembered both sides, and he discussed the Führer, Hitler's ideations and thinking, and a PDF he wrote, his memories of Hitler as a child. And so I have been guided by very many great and wise and wonderful souls who had wonderful views over history, and so were able to push me in the right direction. So where was I? Yes, so I signed up for a PhD studying Bill Clinton illegally invaded Yugoslavia from South Africa, where I had absolutely no idea. Yugoslavia, the Balkans, it's an absolute nightmare of religions and affiliations. And are they Slavs? Are they Greeks? And Macedonia and the Greeks? And it's just a very complicated thing. So it was an odd thing to do. But anyway, the professor said, go ahead. And then I couldn't find any information on, what do you call it? Well, obviously AP Reuters is all a stitch up. It's a lie. It's a fabrication. I mean, I don't know if anybody thinks there is no news coming into the West. You have no news whatsoever. It's a Milosevic is the butcher of the Balkans type of situation where you hear nothing else. So if on your gut instinct you think there's something else, you should go and see people like the Duran, Duran, and Alex Christoforou and so on. They might be able to assist you with reality, not the delusional world AP Reuters has created. So I couldn't get any information via the media, obviously. And I couldn't get any information via academia because it's just a bunch of pompous idiots prattling on for hours and hours and hours about. And then we have the conspiracy theorists, it's the Zionists, it's the bankers, and I can dismiss the bankers in 3 sentences and it's over with. But that doesn't stop them from peddling it. And I suppose that is the result of being a member of the Western cabal, where you have inordinate privileges thanks to incredible suffering you mete out to other parts of the world. And so you can afford to be fiscally prudent and high-handed about how special you are and how moral you are, but you never have to take accountability. Well, that lucky streak, that dying we showed them is coming to an end, and that is very sad for both the America that my one grandfather loved so very much, which is all the crazy Elvis and Graceland pilgrimages and 10-gallon hats and Cadillac Eldorado. And I love all of that. It might be shtick, but I love it. And I also love my European roots and my Asian heritage and my African ancestry too, because I have some African ancestry and I'm very proud of that. Africa is where I was born. She is my motherland, and so I will always stand up for Africa and the terrible abuse people have taken, my brothers and my sisters on this continent, the terrible abuse that is meted out to a continent with resources. So war can very easily be explained. It is simply a matter of military bases. You must be familiar with military bases. You must know where the mines are. And from these two deductions, you can become a veritable Sherlock Holmes, predicting and ending when wars start, when they end, how they will unravel. It's very simple for me. I simply go with logistics. And so I'm very happy to call anyone out because I know perfectly well that there is no way in hell that the United States can support a ground invasion or the United Kingdom. It is absurd and hilarious that there are people even think that there is a remote possibility of a ground invasion in the Russian winter without logistics in that type of arena, which is why I'm sure that their general. I analyzed. I'll try and upload that speech, the clips. I analyzed Patrick Sanders, Sir General of the United Kingdom, was saying that war is an interplay, hold on to your hat, of fiction and chance. Fiction and chance. This is the United Kingdom uh, 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 general advising the United Kingdom why they're going to go to war with Russia, because it is an interplay of fiction and chance. Fiction and chance. And what did they say? A clash of wills. A clash of wills. So we are at World War III because the British general says it is a clash of wills. It is an interplay of fiction. Yes, fiction, like as in wrote strange fiction and chance. And he says it in so many words. And America and the United States go, that's all we can do because we are dead cult and times is coming and times is coming. So they won't say no to their politicians. They won't say, oh, whoa, wait up. Well, maybe we don't want to escalate this conflict. What? We declared war on China too. Maybe we don't want to go that far. Maybe we want to just hold our horses for a moment and consider our options. No, because if you put it to them that, you're going to go to war because Hunter Biden done some things and Burisma, something, Gazprom, something over there. If you say that to them and they go, oh, it's end time, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. It is melodramatic. Oh, we have to give up because end times, we are controlled by those people. Which people, I say? Well, they say that it's the bankers control us all. I see, except I gave them Bloomberg verification that the banker moved on. The rest of the world moved on without you. No, they say they will not be moved. There is nothing that they can do. So we're going to World War III because the people of the West, sunsets in the West, have decided that their death cult fantasy must end catastrophically. And so the rest of the world, where we have no such suicidal ideations, we are now dragged into this misery of a conflict because, as I say, the children of the corn have decided that they can do nothing about it. And so they continue to give informed consent repeatedly over and over and over again. Silence is consent. To sit by while Joe Biden lobs long range missiles into other countries is to consent to this escalation. It is the same thing. So, in war terms, you are civilian collaborators to World War III. That's really all I can say. I mean, it is that simple. I trust you will find your conscience and find your tongues very soon, because there will be very heavy soul karma on you for this refusal to engage and say no to this terrible, terrible, cataclysmic escalation in the conflict.